We're live.
Not yet. Not according to my computer.
No, hasn't caught up.
Nope. Reading. Maybe I have to refresh.
I was gonna say maybe.
Oh, there it's coming now. Now I'm refreshing. It's
You
not
got
going.
that muted?
No. Good call.
We have to mute it here.
Reading.
There you go.
There we go. So you've got me in there. Yay! Let me see. I want to do this just in case. But it's not working. How come?
What's that? I don't know. It hasn't been working for a few days.
Well, that's stupid.
A little bit. We may have to start it or restart.
Yeah.
Restart the computer.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can't figure it out. Oh, well, hopefully that's good enough. Being like that.
It's just us.
Just us. Oh, there's our little thingy. See, now that I can't get that to be deleted or
That's all right. That doesn't matter.
muted.
It doesn't matter. Oh, somebody else is here.
I can't figure it out. We'll leave it. I'll
Playing
leave
around
it.
with technical stuff.
Yeah. We're trying to do 2 computers at once to do this. And
It's
yeah,
working so far.
so far so good. Mine's way behind. But that's okay. So what are we going to talk about tonight?
Oh, I don't know exactly. Anything related to winter homesteading,
Yeah,
gardening.
exactly.
Livestock,
Well, we
you
can
name
do
it.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Charles.
How are you tonight?
How are you doing? We kind of figured we would just do a random live, see how things were going out there and whatnot. We had a good live last Monday, and then yesterday we were on Lori's channel for our live. So we kind of were like, oh, we missed talking to some people. So we wanted to go again.
Hello, James.
Hi, James.
We're pretty good tonight.
I think so.
I know we got everything done a little earlier than normal tonight, chores wise and that. So
Yeah,
it was kind of nice.
It's always nice when things kind of work out. We've kind of had that funny, it's been snowing on and off for every day seems like there's some more snow and whatnot. Kind of feels like spring's getting further away.
Even though it is getting closer.
I know.
The birds say it's getting closer. We were noticing that today.
The birds were singing like crazy here. We have so many cardinals and
the dark-eyed
juncos and all this stuff. All the birds, well, we're avid birders, so we have a bird feeder and everything. And we notice when the spring's coming for the birds because they all start singing. Mm-hmm. James, is cold down there. Well, remind me, where is there? Cold down there. Hey, Free Handling Maid.
Hello.
How are you doing tonight? We kind of, we don't really have a subject today. We just sort of were kind of talking homesteading and gardening and everything else that kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah. That coming up on mid-February.
Yeah. We've been talking about starting seeds and resisting the urge.
Well, we do have to start our peppers and eggplants, so.
Yeah.
We need to get on top of that.
Sudbury, right. Mine's 35. Yeah, out Western Ontario. Boy, you guys are getting, well, I guess that's more middle of.
That's north for us.
North for us, but it's, you guys are getting hit. I know my family's out in Manitoba and they've been seeing like minus 40. I'm just like, you can keep that.
The only nice part about Manitoba is it's usually drier cold, so it's.
Would Sudbury not be pretty dry too?
Maybe.
Dry cold, not to.
We're always kind of that. We always have that damp feel to everything. It's never really dry anymore.
But. And you get that. It's always, even in the winter, you got that humid. Like even today out there, it almost felt foggy.
Well, it was. What temperature was
it? Hey, in Battersea.
Hello.
That's almost a neighbor.
I can say that's not that far.
Dry cold. Yeah, so Sudbury would be. I don't know how I ever managed in Manitoba with the cold temperatures, because now we get -20 and it feels so cold.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We're just getting old.
Yeah, but, maybe we are getting old.
We haven't, we actually didn't, well, I guess we haven't ordered meat chickens in like ever.
Yeah.
We kind of, well, that's something we actually sat down today and we were looking at the cost of our chickens and the breakdown on that. But yeah, we usually just we eat the whatever they produce.
Mm-hmm. But on the note of getting them ordered, I bet that is probably a smart move after last year. From what I heard from people, it was so hard to get them.
Oh, I think even some of the we were poking around for prices for chicks and that to do a comparison, and yeah, I think even some of them were saying that you don't.
For certain breeds, it seemed like it was already hard to get them. So probably a very smart idea to have them ordered and ready to go.
Yeah, early rather than later.
Yeah. What's just I'm terrible because we do the partridge chanticleers. I don't even know a lot of other, but just white meat chickens, like broilers. Is that what you ordered? 18 inches of snow. Oh my goodness.
Was that 18 inches like all at once, or kind of over a couple days? Because that's a lot all at once.
Yeah. Oh. 18 inches. That'd be some tough trekking through.
Yeah.
As far as like, going to do the chores in the farm and everything like that whole
snow, the fun of snow.
And is that normal for you? Like, I know 18 inches isn't really normal for anybody, but is that much snow normal in your season? In one day? Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. So he's getting the we've actually, I had friends, well, their friends' parents who used to raise the broilers, but I've never actually raised any.
No, we've never done meat birds. We've always just done the chanticleers, but
I kind of have always done the dual purpose, and hens for eggs and the rest for meat. But
well, I think there's definitely pros to doing it that way too. It doesn't fit into our game plan.
Yeah, we usually get quite a few chicks out of the chanticleers, so
yeah, I can't justify having more chickens than what we already have. But then I guess that comes too, because chicken's not our main meat.
Yeah, the rabbit.
The rabbit is our main meat. So, but so this is
that'll be good. 5 acres near Verona. That's a nice area.
Okay. Yeah, that's 38, right? Verona's on 38.
Yes. Yeah. So just north of.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, not far at all.
And is this a blank canvas, no house or anything? You're going to be starting kind of from scratch? Are you planning off grid? Going to do a YouTube channel because that's kind of the thing?
It's a good way to document things.
Well, that's what we started with. It was just a great way to keep track of what we were doing. And it just kind of escalates from there. But now we go back, and it's a great tool to see what you've achieved, and also to show other people what you've achieved.
Keep track of the record, because they're losing the book, everything.
Yeah, we're terrible for keeping track of things, so it's better that it's on public.
Hello, drops. Yeah, so that would make sense. If you're at the base of a mountain, it probably dumps on you.
Yeah,
a couple of. It's nice so that, like you say, it's only a couple times each winter and not repeatedly.
Yeah, that would not be. Well, you must have a good snowblower.
That's something last winter. We moved in. We had the tractor. We didn't get our snowblower fixed. We moved it. We didn't get it fixed. And that's a little more complicated than I can fix. But and then the tractor didn't work. So we were lucky last winter. We didn't get too much really crazy snow, and we didn't have to shovel the driveway too much. But we had to do it about 3 times?
3 times, and it's long enough that it was like, why am I shoveling when we have a tractor?
Yeah, but this winter it's been awesome. We got it fixed last spring, and
it's been. Although we're now saying this year we chose to use a blade, and next year we said that we're going to not put. Sorry.
Oh, we might put the snowblower on it instead, because the blade works well, but the snowblower would probably work a little better.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot, depending on where we are in the driveway, we don't have a lot of spots to push it to.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the snowblower would have been a smarter idea.
mm-hmm. That'll be nice. We've got lots of possibilities with 5 acres. You can do a lot. That's something we always kind of keep talking about too. That sometimes that's still pretty big, but sometimes smaller is almost better because you kind of manage things better.
Mm-hmm.
And it, I don't know, just sometimes works a little better to not have so much space that you can get thinking too big too quickly.
Yeah. Drop about an electric snowblower.
Well, you can look at that 2 ways. That's either a good, it's a good investment because you bought it, you have it, and you haven't had to use it, so you've got no wear and tear on it. And I don't know, maybe it's keeping the snow away.
Yeah.
If you didn't have it, then you probably would have wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
That's Murphy's Law and everything, how it always seems to go.
Hey, Chad, how are you doing tonight?
Hello. Yeah, that would work. The plow attached to the.
Yeah.
Our problem is because it's like you say, it's not humid. It's the wrong word, but because it's very damp here most of the time because the Lake Ontario often doesn't freeze, so you get kind of all that moisture-laden air coming our way. The snow's always really heavy. Like even with the tractor, it was a bit of a push. The last time we got a pretty good dump.
Oh, yeah.
It did it okay, but you still had to push it a couple times.
Well, and in all fairness, we did not put the chains on the tractor.
Well, no, that doesn't help. But
and then they got buried in snow, so they weren't going
they're
on.
not coming out this way.
No, next year we will be better on the chains on the tractor because that would probably have made a big help. But local bargaining group is exchanging goods. You know what? I've always wondered about that. There used to be
used to be a local one. I don't know if it's
like Fort. Oh gosh, it was probably 12, 14 years ago. There used to be a big barter trade group in Kingston, and then it just sort of seemed to fizzle, and I've not actually actively looked for anything again on that, but I'm sure there is, because that's become quite a thing now, and I think it would be a great thing to be part of. I mean, we've talked about it often, and, you kind of look on Kijiji, we often, it's like when we go to buy chickens or whatever, we always offer a trade first or things like that to try and...
Oh, we were talking about that in keeping... trading like rams for new rams and all that sort of stuff, but that's a whole nother.
But it is something like the one that they used to have. It was it would just be kind of like a Kijiji listing of what people were offering and what they were looking for, and then you just kind of went down, and if you had one or the other, then that was, you just clicked on the ad and you bartered. But
hello, Miles.
Hey, Miles.
And
I never answered to Chad for the what's happening. Well, we're just kind of talking about whatever. We missed the chatting yesterday because we were on Lori's World, and we said, well, you know what, let's do one on Tuesday because we've missed chatting with some people. And so we figured we would at least do a quick one tonight and see how everybody was that we'd missed.
I think the big thing that's been happening with us, I mean, we finished our, well, I shouldn't say finished. We have our grow room now set up. Actually, we did the video for it. It's coming tomorrow, but we got our lights. They came, we got them set up. So we got most of them set up. I ran out of chain to hang some, but so now it's just a case we got to get some stuff planted, and growing in there.
Yeah.
But, hopefully we'll get some. I think we're going to start with lettuce. We've got some bok choy,
and we want to start the rabbit fodder in there.
Yes, we're going to start our rabbit fodder.
Up
again. We had it going last winter. It did pretty good, but we kind of it was in our basement and it was a little cool down there. But we think with the grow room kind of being cowled in, like I noticed a bit of a, for what it's worth, I don't have a thermometer in there, but I noticed it
a little bit warmer with all the lights
it feels
going.
a little warmer with the lights, even though they don't generate much heat. So we're kind of hoping that's just enough to get the wheat growing.
So for anybody that's in here that doesn't know, we were organizing a Canadian Seed Challenge seed swap with other fellow Canadian gardeners, and Miles is one of the ones that participated in that.
We're very glad you participated.
Yes, and he's saying there he's got his seeds all packed up. You're ahead of us. We're so close. And you know what the worst bit is taking 2 drives to town to go to the silly dollar store to get packaging for everything.
Well, yeah. First we needed envelopes, and then we needed
the stapler. We didn't own a stapler to put
I'm sure we had a stapler.
I know. And then it was like we ran out of little bags, so then we had to go get more bags for seeds. So we finally have everything organized that the packets are ready, so we should be able to mail them. So
hello, Thorhaven.
Hey, Thorhaven.
Kind of jealous that you've got a hot tub.
yeah, I could really use that.
We should chat with you about your fig cuttings, because that's something I would almost like to try here. I don't know, you're warmer than us, Miles, but there's a spot behind our house that I noticed. I said this to you the other day. It seems to stay, I don't know, it's like a little mini microclimate. It's got a really good south-facing.
And it's very sheltered.
Yeah, we'd be pushing it, I think, but it would be kind of cool to try it. So I will probably touch base with you about that.
Yeah, the fig string. So the hot tub, need one of those.
Hello, Flavors and Textures. Yeah, we're kind of at that cusp right now. We've, like I say, we've really got to get our peppers and stuff started, but we're probably going to do that maybe tomorrow night.
We'll
see. We'll say tomorrow night, and we'll get it done by Sunday.
Yeah.
But the lettuce and all that sort of stuff, we want to.
Oh, that needs to be.
We want to do it in stages, because, and also I agree, the bok choy is another thing we have a bit to try.
We got didn't we get indoor. Purple bok choy? Was it purple or something?
It's
to try growing inside.
It's a purple type. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it should be. It should be interesting to get that going, but we want to do it in stages so that we don't, for in the grow room, that we don't have everything ready all at once, because I think that would maybe not work super well. Well,
and it'd be nice to then stagger and start some stuff that can move out into the greenhouse come April. So,
but yeah, we did. Oh, yours got lost. Oh, that's not good.
And then the lost shipments showed up, so we got 2
that's even
sets.
better.
That is good.
So that's awesome. You've got double the growing power.
Yeah, we ordered what were the ones? Barina.
Barina was what we got.
Grow lights.
They were, like I say, lower end, but
cheap and cheerful. But we're
doing like a shelf thing too, right? So we don't need the really high output, because we're not trying to light the whole room.
Hey, Rick. Hello. Or Rick. Thanks for popping in.
Yes.
But yeah, the grow lights arrived on last week, and we did get them installed. So now we just got to get everything up and running with planting some seeds. But we maybe over ordered. We got 18 grow lights for our little 8x6 room.
I think we need more.
I think you could probably see us across the ocean right now.
No, it's not that bright.
It's pretty bright.
It's a lot brighter than it was. But,
but it should grow some stuff really well. And the nice thing is it lights up the room so much that I think you could probably put pots on the floor and in other places and they'd still grow. We're actually talking about maybe doing a little tree or something like that you could put in there.
Oh, we wanted to try peas.
Yeah. And
because we've seen some people do peas or beans.
Peas or beans on a string growing up and stuff like that. So
that's kind of awesome that you've had that. Well, I say awesome. It's good for you. It's maybe not good for the people selling the lights, but
yeah,
that's interesting.
2 times. That's a good score.
Yeah.
That's
not bad.
Where's our luck?
No.
Our luck was they all came on the same day.
Our luck was they all came on the same day and they all worked.
And only one didn't.
Yeah, it was.
And you were able to fix it with some pliers, so it was all good.
I got the reflectors in.
Yeah. So Chad ordered Sunco lights.
I think we looked at some Sunco ones too.
Yeah.
But we'll see how these ones go, these Barina ones. They sound decent. They were a decent price. They seem pretty well made.
Yeah, that's like what ours are the same type as that, the 4-foot LEDs.
Yeah.
And we just have them on chains so you can drop them, but we've got the
wire
racks.
They fit like a rack or shelf type system really, really well. So that was kind of where we went for.
Yeah.
And maybe we're overkill. We'll have to see how this goes. But we took, because of the strip, I don't know, the strip's maybe about that wide, wide or so, whatever that is. I'm terrible with measurements, but
they're like an inch and a half wide.
The shelf is 16 inches, right?
Yeah.
And we've got 3 of them under there. So each tier of the shelf should be well lit up.
Yeah. So it should make them grow amazingly is the goal.
That's an even better one. Happened with an ATV trailer.
Oh my goodness.
That's an even better score.
Wow. Bush beans work fine in the grow room.
Yeah, we've never tried it. I mean, the kids have done like the experiment with the bean growing in the window,
Yeah.
and but usually that doesn't last because they lose interest in it. But we'll see how it goes.
Well, I think that will.
We'll see how much we can grow inside that we can actually turn into usable food.
I think so.
I think that'll be the fun experiment.
Well,
the never-ending list of experiments.
Well, but I mean, that is one of those things. It'd be nice to kind of have that sort of stuff coming in.
And, at the time when you can't, like for us, we can't grow outside right now unless we heat a greenhouse.
Yeah,
which is an option.
We did build one that you technically could.
We could heat it,
but
we'll
just build the next one. The next one can be.
We'll build another one.
We'll build another one.
You can never have too many greenhouses.
No, and we have a lot of windows left from doing that one.
Growing spaces.
Yeah.
But that was one thing we like too, because we agree you can chain up to, for these ones we got, you can chain together up to 6 of them. So I've kind of got them split up that way so far. But it's kind of a neat little thing. You can do it different ways too. It was kind of nice. We did them from shelf to shelf.
Chad's the same as us, holding back from starting too early.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We're going to do the peppers and the eggplants because they need a lot of time.
Yeah, and then we're going to start
starting the lettuce and some of the greens because we're not like what we'd start now. We're not planning just going to make it outside.
No,
maybe 1 or 2 of them, but they're pretty much we're going to grow them to eat, and then some of the experimental stuff like the peas and the beans. I mean, are not going to make it outside likely either. But our red Russian kale might, because we have some kale. We actually. This is terrible, but we started it with the intention of planting it outside last fall, and
in the greenhouse, yes, which we didn't
didn't happen, and they were really stunted and left in like the little seed trays. We kind of actually forgot about them. It's amazing that many of them survived as they did. Anyways, when we started the grow room, we repotted them into a bigger tote with some soil, and they established a pretty good root system, and so they're now growing decently. So we should be able to start harvesting a few leaves off them. And if they sort of get growing well with the new lights, then they may even be able to go out and free up some space later. So lots of things to try.
I'm going to go back quickly to Jay, almost neighbor to us. But being an electrician, that will be a very handy skill on the homestead, because that is something that we
don't know a lot about.
And boy, does that, you start these projects and then you think, well, geez, now how's that going to work?
Well, yeah.
We run extension cords everywhere.
Well, the nice part is the grow lights, they use so little power.
Oh, yeah. Well,
the ones we have now.
We just ran extension cords all through the rafters.
Well, that's the nice part about an open basement.
Yeah, exactly. But, it is something that's so handy when you...
That's a good homesteading skill, along with plumbing, and
you'll probably be one of the only homesteaders with up to code electrical.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's the other problem of being a jack of all trades.
Yeah. The chief likes leggy tomatoes. Well, like you say, leggy tomatoes, they will still grow. I'm going to quickly say hi to Lori. Hi, Lori's World.
Yeah, we always, with the leggy tomatoes, the only one that...
Just bury them deep, or...
You do have to be careful with the determinate ones a little bit, because sometimes we'll start the indeterminates a little bit ahead of the determinate ones, because if the determinants get too leggy, they seem to be set back a little worse, or at least that's what we found.
Yeah.
But yeah, tomatoes are pretty hardy. I think I've heard people say tomato is borderline a weed, but then at the same time, from a production perspective, and we were talking about this today and yesterday, the best vegetables and livestock and all this sort of stuff, if you're trying to grow it, are the things that want to grow for you, as opposed to something that you really have to baby.
Yeah.
Although sometimes the things you have to baby taste better.
Yeah. I was going to do Chad's there with the cantaloupe. We've never started stuff ahead. We've never really grown cantaloupe, but I would compare them to the Kajari melons that we did grow.
I think the Kajaris are shorter time frame.
Okay, yeah, maybe. We started our Kajari melons last year. We started some inside, and we put them out, and putting them out after starting them almost stunted them.
As opposed to the ones that we planted.
And then I stuck a whole bunch more seeds all around them because I thought for sure they were going to die. And the seeds that I planted directly into the garden actually surpassed the ones that we had started weeks ahead inside. So I'm not sure what our plan is exactly this year. We're probably still going to approach it the same, start some early and still stick some seeds in, because I did find that so I don't know if cantaloupe would be the same, because we haven't grown that.
It should be similar. It's like the squashes.
I would say cover your bases, put them in, but still have some extra seeds to stuff in after.
That's a good list to grow inside. Yeah, we were talking about this the other night.
The cherry tomato, that's the one I would like to start inside. Or bring one in the fall, like start it in a pot and bring it in.
Or start one later, so by the time your cherry tomatoes are running out outside, you've got a fresh one.
I never thought of celery, though.
Well, celery would be interesting to try. Chard would be too. I kind of wondered about chard because
we do the Swiss chard.
We do the Swiss chard outside, but it would be interesting to try inside. We're gonna try radishes too, just for fun. Well, because that's something that doesn't take a lot of soil and doesn't take a lot of time. Thank you very much for stopping in.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
Yes. But yeah, sorry, we're trying to
go back up there. Yeah, there's a couple.
The chat's getting ahead of us.
Oh, I should be watching my screen. I'm supposed to be at the end of mine here. So
yeah, we are planning to do that. It's just not something we've gotten around to yet. We've got some panel space, and what we are running, extension cords, but we're running them from. There is a few plugs downstairs, so it's more just to get it to the room. Yeah, and those plugs don't have much on them, so we've been conscious of that.
No, well, it is a case that it needs to be our electrics here do need some
updated a little bit,
a bit of TLC.
Yeah, that's one thing though. Why we didn't really venture into this last year, because we didn't have that. And we didn't have we weren't able to invest in the LED lights last winter, so we kind of put it on hold and said when we hit the LEDs, we can probably make it work and then upgrade. So, or at least that's the theory.
Yeah. So tomatoes are all vines. Yeah, so they're all the indeterminate ones. Sorry, I'm going back to
indeterminate tomatoes. Definitely seem to be I don't know, a little more forgiving. But
do you grow any hot peppers?
At least that's kind of our experience.
Yeah.
We do
not like killer hot peppers. No, that sounds like a killer hot pepper. Like we like spice in our family, but not crazy spice.
We grow Aurora hot peppers, which are actually pretty rare little dwarf pepper.
Hey, Paragon Ridge.
And we grow Hungarian black, which are hot. Now, Hungarian black's not that hot. I would almost say they're not even quite as hot as some jalapenos are hotter than the Hungarian blacks.
But once they turn red, they're pretty hot.
They go a little bit more, yeah.
Same idea as a jalapeno. Once it goes red, it's like,
Yeah, it can go a little crazy.
But the little Aurora ones are a nice little spicy one for just putting in something that we grow. But no, we're not as big on the hot peppers here.
The really hot peppers.
Yeah.
We do want to try the
Hey Jan.
We do want to try the microgreens. It's kind of something we always toy around with. It's on the agenda to try. I think we're gonna see if we can, it's like this year, if we can get enough broccoli to go to seed and get a lot of broccoli seeds back, then we may try that next year. Just
and the peas, like doing the peas.
Oh, the peas are I'm really quite interested.
Yeah, we're definitely interested. What is the weird ones that we bought? We do that thing quite often of buying at the grocery store a big bag of peas or beans from the bulk section, and you just try it and see if they'll work. And what were those little black ones that I got the other day that were relation to mung beans? Anyways, so they're going to make the bean sprouts.
Yeah, they're in the same genus.
Yeah, we're going to try them because I think that'd be kind of neat.
Look them up again. But, that's awesome to have your garden planned. We've got to get thinking about that. We were talking about that with Lori last night.
Yes, gardening planning. Lori had her whole chart up. It was fantastic. And I'm like, so maybe this week I'll try and draw ours out. I don't have a computer thingy. You probably could. I'm not computer savvy.
Something out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are you saying?
I'm trying to keep up. It keeps moving ahead on me.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, exactly. The microgreens and that's our thing too. We're under no delusion. Like we're not going to be able to likely grow like huge heads of lettuce. But even if you can grow the leaf lettuce, then that's one more thing you're growing that you can put to use. Especially given, well, we kind of say this, the I don't know, the price of greens and stuff just keeps going up. the price of everything kind of keeps going up. So it's kind of, we hit that point where we're like, it's worth.
Well,
It's always been worth it in our mind, but it's definitely worth.
It was worth the push to try and get going, even though we thought, this year we're already so late. But then we go, well, I mean, Miles is saying there, I don't know if you about the peas. I think we looked them up. Weren't they like 38 days or like to be a complete pea? So I'm sure a shoot is super fast.
We do want to look into those, and we don't actually have.
I haven't had the maple heard of maple ones.
I've heard of maple peas. I think we were talking. Miles and I were talking about maple peas, maybe, but definitely something we want to look into. We just haven't.
Thanks, Paragon Ridge. Yes, hit thumbs up. I always forget to even look. I was just
but yeah, we're definitely going to try the speckled peas or the maple peas.
Yeah,
and actually try growing them outside too to sort of see if we can get, because this is kind of my one thing with the microgreens. This is just my thing because I do this. You can attest to it. I do this with all vegetables where I try to figure out like how much I can produce the seed wise to keep it going, right? And I love the idea of microgreens, but then in my mind, it's like I want something that I can produce a plethora of seeds from
in order to
keep replenishing that to grow the microgreens. It's like I say about broccoli. If one broccoli plant or 10 broccoli plants or 30 broccoli plants will produce you enough broccoli seed to grow your main crop.
And Indiana Backyard Gardener and Claude.
And to use for microgreens, then that's amazing because you've just made that super sustainable. But I've always shied away from buying the seeds, except for wheat.
Yes,
we do sprout wheat, and I don't know. Wheat is one of the things.
We can't grow enough wheat for how much wheat we use. It's just not doable. But
so maple and speckled are the same. Okay, that's good to know. I just didn't know if they were different varieties or something. But, but yeah, so that's kind of always been my thing with the microgreens. Of if I can get to the point that I can produce enough seed to replenish what I need to grow more seed and still do the microgreens, then that's an amazing crop. Well, we actually have the butter crunch.
Yeah,
I do enjoy that one.
We're looking for a nice red one, like the.
Is the ruby red quite a red? I assume it is, but I've never looked into that one.
Yeah, that we're looking for one that's like that burgundy-ish
red. Color. We have.
Not that it has to look pretty, but it does look pretty.
Might as well. I mean, lettuce isn't that hard to save seed from. We do have prize head, which has kind of got a reddish tinge to it, but it's not a really red one.
Jay is also starting the butter crunch this year, so everybody's on the butter crunch kick. I like that one. We just haven't had great success with it in our other place, so hopefully here it will do better.
I've had past years where it's good, but then I didn't get it to go to seed and kind of lost it. And so we're gonna try it again. It's a variety.
As I'm sure many people have figured in our last. Mixed into our last 20 videos, Chris is obsessed with seed saving.
Slightly.
Yeah, you have everything is planned out as to whether he could save seeds to be able to do it, which is good, but it makes it tricky.
Yeah. So you're meaning, Miles, the microgreens or the like grains like wheats and stuff? Because some microgreens I would think would not be too bad for your own personal use to process enough seeds. But yeah, grain, like wheat, oats, barley. We've got some that we've got like red fife and Sonoran white wheat that we're gonna keep growing. The kids
really want to do wheat this year, and we have red fife, so we're gonna start.
It takes so much to actually do much with it, so you're kind of just propagating it. But we are gonna try the Mennonite sorghum, which is kind of like the same as the broomcorn that you got from us, Miles, just a different variety. But we're going to try it and see how productive it can be for seed, because it's supposed to be another decent grain.
Yeah.
Yeah, butter crunch is good. That's why we added it again.
Yeah.
And it usually grows pretty good. We just had a bad go of it the 1 or 2 years we tried. But so the ruby red is okay. So like half red leaves. So that would still be pretty good.
Yeah.
We're just thinking it's one of those things.
We had
if you've got the salad greens and you're kind of doing the leaf lettuce, we do have a romaine that we're going to grow too.
And we do our black seeded Simpson, which is a nice leafy green. And we were growing prize head lettuce, but it only does just the tips kind of go up purpley
Yeah,
red
it's
color.
just the
It just, we
tips.
kind of said it's so similar to the prize head, it doesn't make sense to do them both. So we're trying to find a nice red one.
Well,
I don't know
we
if
might still keep
Peregrine
going.
red sails, is that
That's another lettuce.
okay.
I think I've heard of that one too, but
that would be
I've
worth
not tried
trying.
it. So we should.
Where's my
should
notebook?
be writing
Write
these
that down. Red sails.
and
And then
the
then you have to go out red sails, and the other one I've got to go back and find drops here. What was his one? Sorry, pausing for a moment as we're going back to take notes on what we should buy. Where is it here? We'll just get drops to write down the red one again because I can't find it as I go back. Hey, Harvey. I've got, mine's ahead here, but.
Oh, yeah, you're ahead of me.
Yeah. Oh, no, she's talking about red sails Miles, red sails is nice. Also a new red Fife variety.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
Oh, and he was talking about the, yeah.
That's microgreens. Yeah. We got to get better at following the chat.
Oh. We get talking on tangents.
Yeah, we get going.
But
it is a great obsession to have Indiana Backyard Gardener having this collecting seeds obsession. There is definitely nothing wrong with it. It is just one of those, so much planning goes into making sure things are spaced out, and you can't have, like, I love zucchini. Chris, we both love the crookneck squash, and unless you're going to hand pollinate, you can't have them both.
Well,
so you got to
try the it's the gourd. It's the snake gourd.
Yes, I was. Somebody was talking.
We got
watched
some
the
seeds
video
coming,
on that.
so we're going to try that because supposedly when you harvest it young, you can use it like a zucchini, and it doesn't cross with the Cuba seeds, which is awesome, or the Cuba plants, which is awesome.
Giant red mustard.
Okay, that'd be a good one to try.
Hi, Hello. Hidden Harvest Grow Lights. Sorry, we're
if we miss anybody at any point, just ask again, and yeah, we're just getting there. But yeah, we've never actually, like, we've got wild mustards and we have harvested mustard seed and that sort of stuff. We've never actually grown mustard specifically.
Hi, Mona. Hi, North Shore.
Hello,
Sean.
Hello,
yeah,
Harvey Black too.
I did say hi, Harvey.
Oh,
you missed it. I was on that one. But yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of get going on all these things, because now with doing the grow room, we're also kind of picking different things. Like, we got a new kale. We've always grown red Russian kale, but we're trying a dwarf. Is it a fan? It's a dwarf kale.
The red Russian kale is a different species than most kales, like the green leaf curly kales, which are the same as like cauliflower and a lot of the cabbages and broccoli. So it's a dwarf. I can't remember what variety it is because we just picked it up the other day, but we got a dwarf of the
trying for the indoor growing.
Yeah, to try something different.
Yeah. So North Shore saying make your own mustard. Now we have a lot of wild mustard. Can we make mustard from that?
You can. Yeah, we should try it because it's definitely something we could do, and everybody here likes mustard.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh yeah,
that's another. We'll have to look into that a little bit more because it's oftentimes we just kind of don't pay attention to the mustard plants, but they're here.
Yeah. I was going to say, put Claude's up. Thank you very much, Claude. We appreciate that.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you for joining us today.
And we love the feedback. We love getting feedback from everybody. And I do apologize if anybody's commented in the recent ones. I'm way behind on replying to comments on our videos.
We'll have to look into I'm going to write that one down.
Giant red mustard. Yeah.
There we go. We'll look that one up tonight.
Oh, guess who's going seed shopping after this is over?
Oh, I said I was done too because our last seed we've got one more seed order to come. It's ordered. It's in the mail. It just hasn't got here yet. But,
well, that was the baker's one. It's the only time we've ever ordered from the States seeds, and it's taking forever. So I'm skeptical.
We'll see how it goes.
But it's supposed to have been shipped, but that was like a month ago. So I'm skeptical. So in 1,000 head kale. I haven't looked at that one.
1,000 head kale.
I'll have to look that one up.
This is the thing that's cool. It's like you can go through seed catalogs and look up varieties and this, that, and whatever. And you get their little description, but it's nice to see and hear what other people are growing because then it's
exactly, because then you get real feedback on what people have, whether they liked it, whether it worked, whether it was difficult.
Well, it's like us, so we kind of go back to the same. It's like our Scotia tomatoes and our yellow crookneck squash, and there's a lot of other stuff.
Well, Miles has sent us the Canada crookneck squash to try this year, which we are excited about.
We cooked it up, and it was amazing.
absolutely amazing.
was,
If anybody is, yeah.
And you get a lot more meat out of it because of the neck. So I understand why.
One lasted us 3 meals.
Yeah.
For a family of
But
4.
I get why the Waltham butternut is more, I don't know, desirable for like conventional grocery store growing, because you can chip it without breaking the neck off. But yeah, dwarf corn indoors, that would be interesting.
Wow.
I didn't know. I guess there's nothing saying you couldn't grow corn indoors, but yeah.
That would be kind of very interesting to look into. The
corn's, I always have a hard time with corn, but
well, and we've got the problem with, for us, our next door neighbor is a cash cropper, so he alternates between the corn and the soy every
this
year.
Coming should be corn, and next, because last year was soy. So a year when they're growing soy, there's only the one farmer in any kind of radius from us that grows corn, and they just happen to be our neighbor. So then you get into the whole seed saving dilemma.
Yeah, once it crosses and so on,
and it's gonna have the modified genes in it as soon as it. Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole nother discussion.
Ooh, we're gonna watch that.
Yes, we're gonna.
And I still
actually we did see that video, and we just, as I shake my pen, invisible pen, but we did mean to go back and watch that video, and we just haven't got around to it because we did see that one of your videos, and that's always the case. There's always so much we want to watch
or try. We watch something and then we put it into our. We have a hidden playlist of things we want to try. So we've got a whole list there. Oh my gosh. It's like, North Shore, you did a great video on making the wine with juice and all. It was so simple with the sugar and the yeast and the juice. And I had the best of intentions of trying that with some wild grapes this year. And
and we're actually going to plant proper grapes next year too. We still have 4 that hopefully overwinter in their pots. Okay.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But perpetual spinach, I think I'm going to write that one down. I think I have heard of that. We usually grow the Bloomsdale spinach, but
I find it takes forever.
And it's finicky too with the temperature. So actually, we're really curious on that to see how it does on the spinach, how it does inside versus outside, because it's nothing for us in the spring to have crazy temperature swings. So some of those things that really like it at a nice, cool, constant temperature just don't do so well. We've got quite a bit of room to start seeds. We actually don't have anything started right now. The only thing we have started is our sweet potato slips.
We have sweet potato slips. We have our stevia. We've got a bucket. We've got a couple of slips clones that we kept going so that we could move them out into the garden. So they're keeping going. And then all the kale that we were supposed to put in the greenhouse that never made it.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard of that Ford Hook giant Swiss chard. I'm sorry, we're taking a while to get down through the chat, but we grow the is it Ruby Red Swiss chard. I really like that one. It's pretty too. It stays nice
and that's what we red. Have. We left 20 of them out in the garden.
Yes.
So hopefully we mulched them really good. So hopefully next year they will produce seed. Yay! It'll be our first biannual seed collection.
Yep.
That, and we did the kale as well this year.
Yeah, we've got red Russian kale growing out there too. I think for corn, you usually do. Somebody can maybe correct me, but I think corn you usually do want to blanch it a little bit, right, for freezing.
I think so.
I think yeah.
I've never left it on the ears to freeze. I've always done it cooked and then taken it off and froze it. So I'm not sure if you're talking about leaving it on the ears. I would have said you want to blanch it a bit and probably freeze it, and then I bet you'd be really tasty if you then took it out and grilled the cobs.
Yeah, that'd probably be
really good.
We
now I'm full of ideas.
My mom used to cut it off, just in like a slice it off the side of the corn. Yeah. And that worked pretty good. Mm-hmm. We still have 20 of the Canada.
They would not. Now that we've tried it, we're going to be growing.
I've always been a big fan of the Waltham butternut, but I'm converted now.
Yeah, we're definitely doing the Canada crookneck, and I'd be curious as to how many plants we actually need. Like, I mean,
a lot.
Well, I think it said what did you get, about 8 per plant? Isn't that what it said when we looked it up?
Something like that.
I think it said something like 8 fruit per plant.
But we like squash.
So we estimated we need 1 a week. So
I think we go through that.
Yeah.
I've never tried the strawberry spinach. I've seen it growing wild here because it is it's an introduced. I'm pretty sure it's an introduced. I might be wrong about that. It might be native. But anyways, I have seen it in the wild. I'm trying to think. I think I've tried the little berry clustery things too, and they're not that bad. But I've never actually tried growing it. So it's another thing to try. So Is there anything we're looking for? Oh boy.
Well, the only thing that you were trying to get from the Baker seed was the snake gourd.
Yeah, because
that was, we ordered a few other things just because we were ordering that anyways. Mm-hmm. But the one that we couldn't find the seeds available anywhere else was the snake gourd. Mm-hmm. And so that was the big one that we'd ordered from mm-hmm. Baker's.
Now, sending to Canada is not so big of a deal. But for us to send to the U.S. is a bigger deal. We've been poking around, looking into it a little bit, so we may actually, like, we had seeds come to us in a packet that was just a gift, and they never said, and they were still labeled that they had seeds. They're supposed to be labeled. It didn't. There was no problems, but these ones that seem to be coming from Baker's aren't here yet. It's probably just time. I don't know. Well, and I'm sure they're busy. You say it's like 3 weeks ago. I don't think it was. Yes, I'll go back and check. This will come up next week. I will report that it was at least a month ago. We'll see. But I'm curious on the growing. You'll have to fill us in on the how it goes with the corn, because I guess you would hand pollinate it, because I know you can do that with corn, because they do that, and like for keeping pure seeds, you can bag each individual corn head. But I guess indoors would be similar. You just I suppose you could do wind too, though, because you just could just put a fan on it and it may produce. Yeah, that would be interesting. I sense an experiment coming on. Oh boy, we have a lot of plans for experiments. That's an experiment that would take a bit of space, I think. Yeah, because you need quite a few individual plants to keep it going long term, because corn suffers from inbreeding depression really badly compared to like tomatoes. You can take from one tomato and be fine for ever. But yeah, I guess I get kind of whatever. Yeah. So where are we here? Grow lights are growing a lot inside. We'll definitely have to try that with the. Yeah, we've got to get going on that. I see Hidden Harvest saying about being a prepper as well, and I think anybody that homesteads, grows their own food or small farm, whatever you want to call it. There's so many labels for things, but anybody that grows a garden and year after year or grows livestock, and which is basically the homesteading. You become a prepper. Yeah, you basically are. Because I mean, that wasn't necessarily our intention. I mean, we started homesteading years but it was still to be sustainable. And then, of course, you start paying attention to things happening in the world, and you go, well, maybe we'll just make sure we have those canning jar lids, because what if we can't get them next year? And then it just kind of escalates. But for the most part, I mean, we don't buy things like, we don't buy ketchup, we don't buy barbecue sauce, we don't buy most of that stuff, because we make it all. And the nice thing about it is, kind of by doing that for so many years, we have 1,500 jars that are downstairs that we just keep reusing. So it's only lids that we need, and we stash. Well, you went crazy this year. I mean, he came home. I think that's 2 or 3 times this year. You've come home and you've got a pack of 30 boxes of lids, which each one is 12. I don't think I brought home 30. I bet you there's a good 50 or 60 down there in storage. Old English game bantams are nice. They should sit well. Like, if you're trying to produce more, they should do a really good job of that. Years ago, I had an American game, like standard chicken. I couldn't find any females for them, so I didn't keep them in the end. But nice birds. But I've kind of always shied away from getting another breed of chicken, because it's just, then you end up with so many more birds trying to keep it going and everything else. It's easier to just stick to the one and have lots of that for us. But the spinach and hanging baskets. That'd be interesting to see how that works, because you could bring it in and out, so you could actually probably get it going. Thanks for coming in, Paragon. Earlier. Sorry, I just scrolled down quickly and I saw you leave. Hopefully we caught you before you left. As I'm looking at the wrong computer. Hello, no. Yard. Look at the right computer when we're talking. Oh boy, it's so confusing trying to run. See, because I'm logged in on the other computer as myself, just in case I need to moderate anything. So I've got the ability to like block something or whatever. And so I'm over here trying to read the end where people are coming and going, but Chris is on this one is so far behind answering everything. Anyways, that's just our little fun. I love Swiss chard too, because I'm the one that's the big advocate for it. You guys like it now. The rabbits love Swiss chard. Well, yeah, the rabbits love it too. So at least we can justify growing a big patch. It's one of those things that if they get too big or whatever, that you kind of don't want to use them, you can just feed them to the bunnies and they love it. But we'll definitely, North Shore, we're going to follow your spinach thing and maybe even try it because that could work really well actually.
Well, then you can keep it in a shady spot
You
because
can keep it in a shady spot,
shade.
but you can also, if you could get it started really early, and bring it in and out.
Yeah, that's true too. Especially if you could get the perpetual spinach. Now that'd be smart.
Now that's one of the reasons actually about chickens why we have the partridge chanticleer, so that we don't have that issue ever.
Yes.
Because they have the little cushion comb, so they don't get frostbite, and they're out walking around.
Our chickens are just. I mean, their pens are all open front. We watch it, we giggle a little bit because of the, ours are in -30 and they're out there covered in snow and everything, and they're just fine and dandy. But that is the reason they were developed up here, was to be able to handle the cold. So
yeah, very similar to the white chanticleer, but not the
We've
same.
never, the whole time raising them, I don't think we've ever had one get frostbite of any sort.
No. And they try to go broody and like.
Oh yeah, they're trying
right now.
They're trying to sit eggs now, and it's just like
Yeah. Yep, chard is awesome. Actually, beets in general, because Swiss chard is a beet, and we're we should we let the secret slip on our sugar beets?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah.
We processed our sugar beets.
Finally. Only months later.
We've got that video coming here very shortly.
Yeah, we're thinking about doing it as a premiere. We've never done a premiere before, but we're thinking about doing it. But it basically shows the 2-week process to take our sugar beets from the plant to sugar. Yeah, you're way behind.
I'm way behind. Sorry, okay, I'm going to go ahead. You keep talking. I'm going to go ahead quickly.
Okay. What? But well, no, just keep going. Just keep working through it. I'm watching if anybody comes or goes. So
yes, we are going to. Humidity shouldn't be too bad in our basement. We've lucked out. Our basement is not very humid, especially in the winter.
Yeah,
it's actually really.
We have the dehumidifier down there set at 45, and it never comes on.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Even in the summer, it's not.
Which actually we were looking up. That could be a problem because the grow room should be, I believe, and Guten Gardening maybe can correct me on this, but I think it should be probably between 55 and 60 for nice growing. So we may actually be too dry.
Yeah, but I bet you when we actually get stuff growing, the plants are respiring too. So you are gonna.
Yeah, that room we might have to get a separate gauge for.
We should get it. We should get one on for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we'll definitely be watching for that video.
Yeah. Oh, look at you're getting caught up. There was highs in your speed reading.
That was another one. I think we might have watched your dehydrating. I'm trying to remember now. I think we might have watched that one. I'd like to.
Yeah, because we said, why didn't we ever think of that? Because throwing it in soups, that's because we do it in soups and stews, and like that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. We never thought about dehydrating it. We always were like, oh well, I guess.
Yeah, because that was something we were thinking.
Because right after the first frost, I said we should chop it all and dehydrate it, but it had already gotten all in the frost.
By the time
that wasn't the first frost; it was probably about the 10th frost.
Yeah.
So yeah, great idea though.
Your rabbits don't like the Swiss chard. Ours probably, we should actually say, given the choice, that wouldn't be their.
Yeah, but we don't give them a choice.
But on a day when you harvest a bunch that's gone too big or whatever, had a little bit of bug damage or something, when you put it in, they still eat it.
Oh, I give them the best pieces, the really nice big ones.
But they always grow so nice. The Swiss chard, it's a relatively carefree plant, which is really nice. But. Thank you very much. We like our chickens. Although we actually sat down and
this is another teaser of our video. We were working on our next economics video.
So we did the rabbit economics, kind of what our full cost was for the year versus
which we were pleasantly pleased and surprised with the results.
The rabbits turned out really nice. So we did the same thing with the chickens, and chickens not so much, but they didn't work out as nicely economically this past year. Because of the move, and prior to the move, we had kind of downsized, and we did have a predator issue. So we were down in numbers, trying to rebuild our flock up, and we didn't make any income off them. Like we had virtually no egg sales because we put that into. We wanted as many of them born as we could, plus what we used ourselves. So you do have that, and the meat that we produce ourselves. But anyways, needless to say, between not bringing any income in from live sales or egg sales or that sort of thing, and then feed costs going up, we've got to do some thinking.
Well, it's not.
It's
not
positive.
It's just we got to figure out how to make them more sustainable as far as the between the costs going up and their
Which the one thing, like the feed cost part of it, and we will talk about this a bit when we get around to making the video. But this is a teaser for everybody who's in here. But
let us know now what you wanted to talk about.
What was working for us even 2 years ago, from a feed perspective, I mean, the cost of feed is different now, like substantially. Like the amount of some of the ingredients of how they've gone up. We've got some ideas on how to play around with that, but it's really interesting to track it, because in a way that's almost part of the being prepared too, because you need to know where you can improve. And I don't know, I'm kind of getting off on a bit of a tangent, but it's all part of the bigger whole, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, we're looking forward to the sugar beet one. Well, let's put it this way: we were pleasantly surprised with it.
Yeah,
we won't go into details.
Well, and this goes a little bit down to the sugar beets was something for us that we decided to choose after we really. It was an experiment, but we decided to go into it after we got a little bit further down the prepping rabbit hole. Basically, because sugar for canning and all those sorts of things was so vital, and we were stocking it, but at the same time we were like, there has to be some way to produce it just in case. So the sugar beets was a little trial for us, and yeah, I'm pleased with it. I think it'll be it's definitely going to continue next year and grow. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, we already have the seeds, which is awesome.
And we bought the seeds already.
We're gonna the little teaser here. We're going to plan to figure out how to breed them to get.
We want the seeds.
We want a lot of seeds.
We want them. We want to have them producing seeds for us.
Because we'll leave it at that.
But yeah, I definitely. It was a great project, and I would definitely recommend for people to try it. I mean, the kids loved it. They loved checking on the sugar every day and things like that. So I think it was kind of
good. It was a good experiment that way.
Yeah.
What would we recommend for laying flock? Well. Short
Partridge
answer,
Chanticleers.
Partridge Chanticleers,
no,
but we're partial to them.
They're dual though. They're not the best layers.
It depends on your purpose. If you're trying to get a breed or a chicken flock that's more of a, I'm going to say it, something that's a bit more sustainable for yourself to just kind of keep going yourself, definitely look into the dual purpose heritage breeds. I mean,
your Barred Rock is a nice one.
Barred Rocks are good.
The Chanticleers.
Partridge Chanticleers. The white Chanticleers I've heard are pretty good, but anyway,
those are both ones that you get a good meat ratio off a bird, as well as decent egg production.
Yeah, we don't want to pigeonhole you into anything, but if you're looking for more like
I want to get an egg a day, and I want to sell eggs and be guaranteed eggs,
that may or may not be the best. I guess the thing
with the sex links on that, right?
Well, your hybrid stuff is going to, or leghorns are good, but it really all depends on how you're going to manage them, what you're hoping to get out of them. How big you're planning to get, because when you get into some of the heritage stuff, you're pretty much going to have to keep at least a partial population going, or you can't just always find new ones. It's not always that easy. We actually have I forget the video. Miles and I did a video together, and
you did the Partridge Chanticleer swap.
No, but it was the pondering one.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was the farm pondering ones where we kind of talked about some of that stuff in relation to Partridge Chanticleers, but it really applies to kind of any breed. Did
you put up the Gutenberg saying 40 to 60 there? Okay. Yeah. So it's close. I said, that's where I said we may actually have to watch that, because our basement may be too dry for the plants to be happy.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how it goes.
But.
Oh, I'm so close.
Yeah, you're getting there.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I missed you when you came in. Sorry, Dr. Redneck. We missed you.
Our chickens are Partridge Chanticleers, so they're a Canadian breed. They are in the U.S. I don't know how common they are, though. I think most of the breeders that have them in the U.S. are in the northern states, because they basically were bred for cold climates. But that being said, they handle the heat quite well. They pretty much go through any weather.
Yeah,
which is kind of nice. I guess that's fine. I mean, that's kind of more up to you, I suppose. If you want if you want to be planting them to grow for yourself, but if you're willing to plant them to
share,
then yeah, I think that's great, because if the best thing of that is if you've got heirloom varieties that you really like, planting them there exposes them to other people. And then I don't know, the one thing that's always kind of hard, and this is me going off on a tangent again, but one thing that's always kind of hard is getting people to try things that are out of their comfort zone. It's like zucchini versus summer squashes and stuff. Well, everybody's familiar with like the normal looking zucchini and the various hybrids and stuff, but then to get it to branch out from that until you've tried it, they're all so different, and then you find the ones that you like. And sometimes it could be somebody really likes the taste of one variety and they don't like this one as much, which is personal preference.
The only thing I would say on planting them in a community garden was, if you are hoping to save seeds from them,
you probably won't be able, unless things like tomatoes.
Tomatoes need to have 3 meters away from another tomato plant. Of a different type.
Unless they're potato leaf potato, but that's a whole
well, that's not confusing.
They're not very common.
So that would be the only thing. If you were hoping to keep those seeds pure for yourself, just make sure that they're not planted near somebody else's tomatoes. But then you also have the opportunity there to share the seeds with others, which is great for,
Yeah. So I definitely could see a lot of benefits. Definitely. Yes, we do have.
We don't have them yet. We have it filmed.
Well,
we're editing.
We have the first one. We did our harvest video.
Oh yeah, the harvest one.
And then we stored them in the basement, and then now we've done the processing. So it was, our 2-part experiment that spanned a couple of months.
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely I would say it didn't. We probably would have got better results if we'd done it a little earlier rather than procrastinating.
Well, a whole bunch of stuff. We planted them late. We had a bit of a drought, and we brought them in the house. We didn't store them perfectly. They dehydrated a little bit, which I think actually helped, because you didn't have as much water content to boil off. But that's awesome that you guys are getting sugar beet seeds too. We are going to follow that and see how you do with them and see how you like them.
Yeah. Do it as an experiment with the kids, because ours really enjoyed it. So
they were super
like I mean, honestly, they were coming, and I'm like, because I wanted to do a weight at the end of how much sugar we'd gotten, and I had to keep stopping them from taking the crystal sugar like candy out of the container and eating it. But anyways, Lori's saying about the sharing the seeds. Hello, it's a squirrel thing. Didn't see you come in. Longboarding mom, hi. Oh, they're from Prepping 101.
Uh-oh. That's
yeah, here we go.
Oh, cool. I'm so far behind in the chat, I didn't even know this. Oh, that's awesome, guys. Yeah. That's very awesome.
Just subscribe to your channel. Yes, definitely, Charles. Guten Gardening, amazing channel. They will, well, I say they because the kids also garden and help and guide. But you will get so much from his channel. It's amazing. Hello, Angelia.
Oh, and thank you for everybody coming over from Prepping 101. This is awesome.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Like I say, my reaction was
you were behind in the chat, and I wasn't paying attention, so we're all right.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah. But
we're just all chatting about gardens and homesteading and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, getting going with the spring season. So, but what are we at here?
But yes, we definitely everybody should check out Guten Gardening.
Yeah. How much? What do you? And I know we've had this conversation before. Are you 1/8 of an acre or 1/4 of an acre? Guten. Guten is they, exactly, they. That's how we do it. Where are we?
I think I might be caught up.
Oh, have you gotten caught up? Oh, wow, that's awesome. Well, we appreciate the pops in there from Prepping 101. I see some notes there from people. So do I. Oh, okay. He's on a small. Okay.
Okay.
So less than 1/4, including the house. Yeah. So.
But
although technically your house is a garden in the basement, so it still counts.
To add that to it. Yeah. I say this all the time though, like, and this is why we love your channel so much. Um, we have a lot of space, and you'll hear us say this over and over again. But a lot of space can also be very overwhelming because your brain can just start going, oh, I can do this and I can do that, and I've got the space to do this, and then you get to trying to manage it.
Yeah.
And realize that it's not feasible. Like, it's amazing to look at what you can do in a smaller space. And even if you scale that up a bit in a bigger space, it's still nice to keep to the it's not sounding right, but it's nice to keep to the smaller space because the amount you can layer and everything else, it's more manageable.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending. I mean, if you want to have a big patch of corn, you could just have a big patch of corn. That's a relatively carefree crop, but, or some of the big squashes and stuff. But like, that's what we always found in the past with things like lettuce. It was, you're trying to fit it into a big garden is almost harder than just looking at a smaller space and trying to tend it in there.
Yeah.
That's where I'm trying to go with it.
Yeah. Well, and it's nice. It's nice to, I feel that doing the, like for ourselves, when we put things into the smaller garden spaces and are forced to plan it out, and I say plan it out, we're really bad at that, but you tend to miss less. I think that's one of the things. Like you're on top of everything all the time, and you notice things, and I think that's one of the advantages to working, even for us, even though we could spread out to, take up this space and put a garden over here and a garden over there, they wouldn't get the care and attention that they need because it gets scattered. And we like the idea of following the small garden type gardening. And using the raised beds and rotating things.
And containers.
Yeah.
Containers are
we have a lot of containers.
Well, we love, for us here, we love growing sweet potatoes in the containers for kind of two reasons. One, we find they heat up better because we do use black containers and sweet potatoes like that. But we can move them. So if we get a time of year where you're going to get a frost or whatever, or you want to start them a little bit earlier, we can move them around. Whereas if we grow in the ground, we can't do that. And we've even found that with potatoes. Sometimes it's nice to have them in the container because if you get to the end of the growing season and you get a surprise cold,
it's easy to bring it in or toss something
and
over
you don't
it.
lose your harvest. That's
exactly.
Something actually had happened.
Yeah. Well, and the other type of, we do the big blue containers, which we don't bring in. Or is that what you were just talking about?
Well, there's those too.
Yeah. We do the big, the blue.
The blue
barrel. I call it blue barrel gardening, but we do all of our herbs and things in those, which is great. We can't bring them in, but they're great for containing everything and working at a right height. And we just mulched over them, so hopefully they're all going to come back really well this year. Yeah.
Yes, definitely working within your limits. And I think that is probably like the cardinal rule for homesteading. If there was one rule, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, it could be aquaponics, chickens, gardening, it doesn't matter. You know in your limits, because we have a lot going on now, but we've definitely gotten to that point in the past where you do have too much going on. And
one day there will be a breakdown on camera. I just know it. I mean, the frustrations get going sometimes because the list is just here and you still have all the day-to-day here, and
if you're starting from scratch, that list is astronomical, right? Yes. If you've got all the aspirations of what you want to do.
Well, we still have to build some gardens. We've already bought the seeds to go into the gardens that we're going to build, so they have to be done first thing to get the garden set up.
I'm not too worried about the gardening stuff this year, but I'm still more worried about the livestock.
Actually, I'm not too bad because you haven't bought any trees this year. That's the part that you always come home and you've got a car full of trees or something. I'm like, where are we putting those? Because we have no plan. Hence why we have trees living in black buckets.
Wow, but the blueberries don't mind, so.
No, they don't.
Hey,
Down Under Farm and Forage, you're behind
Lori,
again, so I'm just saying.
I'm behind. So I apologize. I'm always behind. But yes, we have her too.
Yeah.
Like you say, you notice things, whether it's pests or weeds or.
But it's a good
something's
thing.
ready.
And that's the other thing. I mean, you probably find it too. When you're working in a smaller space, usually tends to be close to the house or on a regular footpath, you're passing those areas all the time, which is another key. I mean, the bigger and sprawling your garden goes, or like we're planting one garden this year that is going to be a little bit further out. It's in the old horse pen. And that's one that we're kind of doing the plant and leave it type stuff because we're not going to be going near it every day. So
peppers do quite well in pots.
Yes.
I'm way behind, so I'm speed reading.
No, you can do that. Yes. I'm patios indoors. Yeah. You want to move the container.
Yeah, that's a great idea, or a great point about containers, where you get that flexibility, as long as it's something that stays small enough. That
well, and sometimes when it's first starting out, it wants that sun and the extra oomph. And then, like, we know this now about the melons and things like that.
Oh yeah, the Kajiri melons. We found out, we grew them last year in full sun and found out that they actually like partial shade. So we're going to try partial shade.
But they would have been one that would have been
nice to
have no one been able to move.
They would have been hard to move.
Yeah.
You couldn't really do them in a container. Yeah. They'd get a little too big. But oh boy, you weren't lying about me being way behind.
It's all right. It's all right. Hi, Sonny's place.
I think we do always have too much going on, and then you come up with and then YouTube is so bad because it's encouraging. It's like, we could do this, we could do that. Let's try doing this way. Let's try this experiment.
Yeah. Oh boy. Miles probably just sits there watching you and just laughing, going, "Yeah, Chris is biting off more than he can chew again."
We'll see if this year is any better.
Each year always gets better, but you also always start new things that don't always go the way you planned.
But that's the other thing too, for anybody who's actually starting a completely new homestead or garden. That first year just always is so overwhelming because you want to do so much, but you want to do so much, but you just can't. Mm-hmm. You can't do it all. You can't.
Thanks for coming, Charles. It was great to see you.
Thank you very much.
Hope you have a great night.
Sorry, you're probably already gone, but
Chris is behind. No, that was only 2 minutes ago. He might still be here. Yeah.
But we're very glad that you stopped in.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I just jumped way ahead.
You skipped ahead. That's okay.
Yeah.
Thank
you, everybody, for having patience with me. Because I actually want to see what people are talking about. And,
yeah.
If
you plant things that will self-sow in perennials. Exactly.
I do agree with that, but with one caveat. And this is my one thing about permaculture. I love permaculture. I love the concept and love moving towards it. But it does still take work and planning on the front end, because you are right. Like, the simplest would be like a fruit tree. You plant the fruit tree's there until it dies, or you cut it down or whatever. So it's kind of like a one-time thing, and you can pick your locations and all that stuff quite easily. But especially for things that how do I put this? Mint is on the other side of the fence, because mint spreads, right? So mint is quite easy. You can get it established. But then you do have a lot of things that sit in that gray area of they will reseed, they will spread, they will whatever, but you usually have to do some modification to the environment to get them to do that. And that's sometimes the hard part. And it really depends on your environment. So the principle, I 100% agree with. But I would say from experience, sometimes it's not as easy as you want it to be. And those perennials can be, I mean, that is part of permaculture design, to try to work with your environment as opposed to against it. But you still, like, a great example, we're planting Saskatoon berries or bushes. And Saskatoons often grow in companion with sumac. That's a pretty common pairing. But when you're trying to establish the Saskatoons and you're talking little plants, you've got to do some modification to
Miles might have caught you before you left.
You've got to do some modification to essentially open up the space to allow the chance for those for the Saskatoon berries to establish. So that's a simple one, but still have that balance that you have to figure out how to do, and there is still some work and maintenance in the front end. So anyways, that's my tangent. I agree. I love permaculture, but we're striving for it in our food forest.
The one thing that I'm going to say about that, the one thing was I said about the dill the other day, because somebody had said in our one of our seed videos about the dill self-seeding. And I apologize if you're in here. I can't remember who exactly said that. But anyways, yes, it does self-seed, but we don't we always move ours from place to place to place. But the idea is we could plant some in the food forest. But what we always find when we let dill self-seed is each year you get less and less. It always seems to be
without modifying the environment
yeah.
to favor it, right? Because it still is kind of functioning. Well, it is functioning as an annual, right? It's reseeding itself, and so you need the proper seed bed for it, and that's where it gets like down under Farm and Forge basically said it. Yeah, it's a design evolution of space, and that's where I just hesitate on that. It is easier in the long run, and you get so much out of it, but it's still not always.
We like the idea of we really like the idea of using so many multiple different systems, right? Like you've got a bit of the permaculture in the perennial forest, and then you've got your
and you can get really crazy and embed things within that, right? Like, you know, we're going to try this with some of our squash. We have our food forest area, which is kind of the area where we don't want livestock.
Yeah, we learned that.
Reasons. But we're going to grow some annual vegetables in there as well. Sorry.
That's what happens when you talk too much.
So like squash, for example, right? But we're going to continually have to modify the area we want to do the squash, which has long-term benefits, but because of the way squash grows as an annual in our environment, we're always going to have to do that work for the squash, but it still long-term can have a benefit to the whole food forest system. So even though the squash itself is not really, it's more the modification you do, i.e. the mulch and the manure and that sort of stuff that you add to amend to. I could go off on a huge tangent for.
Yes, I'm going to go back. Sorry, I saw way back. This is way back. Lori had mentioned about a fruit tree that she wants to plant a fruit tree that the deer won't eat. Do they eat the cherries?
They will.
Oh,
yes.
I was thinking a cherry or a plum or something might be what they would not eat.
The problem with like deer, a lot of the common fruit trees will eventually produce the cyanide, but they do that based on the amount of pruning. So when you plant it the first year, it's just like perfect for them because it hasn't been pruned, and so there's nothing to deter them. But as it gets older, you kind of find that the older it gets, the less desirable it gets to them. I don't know a fruit tree I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Usually, they might not eat the fruit, but they're going to eat the bark.
Or they'll eat the leaves, or
yeah.
It's not impossible.
Hey, Amy.
I'd have to think about that, Lori. I'd have to think about that. Somebody else maybe have an answer.
Yeah.
But I'd have to think about that. But thank you for everybody for coming in.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I think you caught me in the middle of a rant.
That's all right. You have lots of rants. But that's
one thing. I love that point too. There's always crops that will have to be started, and that's just it, right? Like I think when you really get, if you want to get to the fundamentals of sustainability, and this is going really high level theoretical stuff, but high level but really simple. You're always going to be doing something because we're constantly changing our environment, whether it's permaculture, whether it's foraging, whether it's hunting, fishing, trapping. You're always modifying the environment to make those things easier for you, or the technology to make it easier for you to do it, because that's what's getting you the benefit. So you've always got things like having to start seeds and having to do maintenance and having to, permaculture is by no means, and I know nobody in here is thinking this, permaculture is not the lazy man's way out of having to do the work. If anything, it's probably more work, but in the long term, the benefit is so much greater.
It's more upfront work.
It's more upfront.
The permaculture is more upfront work.
Especially if you don't have anything. Once you get it going and you're maintaining it, the work is less, but it's the getting going. And that's where in most parts of the world, I shouldn't say most parts of the world, but for a lot of us.
Thanks for coming, Flavors and Textures.
That's probably the hard part, right? Because we don't have that system. Yeah. It's not there. So you're starting from scratch, which makes it hard.
People always forget zone 1 in permaculture. See, now that's something interesting now. And I will admit, I am guilty of I know basic principles of permaculture, and I like the ideas of it. I think we kind of just run with our own thing and develop it and take bits out of every single style.
But I'm bad too. The biologist of me is bad because I'm coming at it from.
Yeah.
I can go into our forest and go, okay, here's the full inventory of
what we have,
plant species that are here. So I'm like, ahead of some people.
Well, and I'm like, we're getting rid of that tree, and he's like, no, we're not. And I'm like, why not? So yeah.
And then I'm like, because of this and this and this and this. It's like us with the hawthorns. You were like, oh, get rid of the hawthorns. And I'm like, no, we don't have very many of them. Let's keep them because in the long term, they're actually quite beneficial to have around. Well, I think they are. You can do stuff with them.
See, like I think what Darren's saying there, the zone 1 household space, like that would be our like where we've got right up by between the barn and the house, we have this like our raised garden and our tilled garden, which we don't have well, basically because chickens and stuff, we don't keep any perennials other than the herb space.
Or really hardy ones that we can protect.
And then we're still moving herbs. The kind of idea is to develop things up close to the house and then move them to start into the permaculture style food forest.
And we basically are loosely subscribing to the zones. Yeah. The zones aren't always super well defined as some people's plans might be, but
well, yeah, because you see those ones that are that beautiful circle design, and I go, oh, that would be so nice, and it just doesn't
work that way.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Not here, but
no.
But yeah.
Let's see here. I kind of see, like, I see people at, like, how's Amy doing tonight? I kind of am paying attention to what people's answers are.
I do have gray hair. My beard is mostly gray. I don't know if you can see it.
But
they're there.
There's gray hairs there. Yeah, and occasionally he pulls them out.
No, usually my hair just gets long.
Well, yeah.
It's actually quite short for me right now.
Yes, considering it's a pandemic and you can't go to the hairdressers.
I don't go to it often anyway.
I know
lucky
you don't.
I cut my hair once a
year.
There would be stuff you probably could get in there. It just would be... I'd have to think about it. I'm sure there's probably a list somewhere of sort of more or less deer safe, like fruit trees. There's got to be some. I can't think of any off the top of my head. That being said, it's like apples. Long term, they might knock it back, or you may have to protect them when they're little. But long term, they would be relatively safe.
Oh, you guys talking about patiently waiting for warmer weather. Oh. We're wishing for what you're, well, not quite, because I know you guys, some of you have gotten a lot more snow and things than us, and unseasonably cold weather for you. But
most of you are going to get spring so much before.
Yeah,
so much
we've still
sooner
got
than us.
so long. We're what, May 24th before you can plant, May 23rd.
Well, before you can plant the stuff without the risk of frost.
Yeah, with no risk of frost.
We can get stuff planted even end of April, but it's got to be pretty hardy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel.
Oh, yes. That would be nice.
Well, but then they got what's your normal winter type temperature?
Not ours.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying it is summer there, so I'm curious as to what the normal. Cattail. Oh, it went so fast you didn't even notice it.
Yeah, cat blurred.
Yeah. See, they were 19. So you were chilly. We were -10 Fahrenheit. This would have been last night. We were -10.
I can't do the conversion.
Right? Because we were -26 Celsius. I don't have my phone, so I don't know. I can't calculate that out, but it's cold. They're in the 40s so they're just above zero. So for us, it's just above zero.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's still cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd just be nice not to have quite the same
we
winter.
We get to about the -10 and it feels like spring's coming here.
Yeah, -10 for
-10
Celsius is like that magic number, because you can get to zero and you can have the freeze and everything else. And we even noticed this with the animals.
Thanks for stopping in, Guten.
Yes,
good to see you guys.
Much. But we noticed that -10 degrees Celsius is like that. I say magic number. It's the number once you get below it, everything just hates it.
Yeah. So John would be, that's 10 degrees Fahrenheit would be what, -12? About that? It'd be -10 or so, -10?
Yeah. Yeah, but he wouldn't be a whole lot different than us.
Yeah.
Relative, like, he'd be very similar, because we get a bit of a moderating effect.
So Indiana, they were -11 Fahrenheit. So that would be, very similar to what we normally are.
It's amazing too. Like, we keep talking about the lake effect from Lake Ontario, because if Lake Ontario doesn't freeze, you get that moderating effect from it, which is kind of interesting, which can also come with a lot of snow.
No, exactly. But Lori's at 0. Did you get any snow?
Did you get the frost? Or did it just kind of get to 0 and...
Because they were threatening you were going to have, didn't they threaten you were going to have -10? It's warming up.
Yeah,
They're 20 degrees Fahrenheit tonight at Craze Family.
I don't know
So
what
how-
it's supposed to be tonight.
I didn't look it up. I got sick of getting bad news. It's always cold.
It's cold.
So -20. So what is I'm gonna get its name wrong. The name of the greenhouse. It's not Betty. What's the name of her greenhouse?
Rosie.
Rosie. How warm does Rosie stay when it's like that?
It's not. We were just talking about the temperature, but I don't know what it is. It didn't feel too bad when we went out to do chores. It wasn't terrible.
It was about -10.
But we still got both wood stoves going.
Yeah.
We have 2 wood stoves, which is kind of nice. It's a little more wood to go through, but yeah, it's still nice.
Oh well, yeah, it is really nice, and it's great because they're split between the house. So if you ever had a situation where you didn't have the heat, electric, or anything,
You
you've
could
still got
close up one of the parts of the house.
Or you can keep them going, and the whole house will be heated. So
yeah, either or. But that's a lot. That's a lot better. -3 for you because it's
-10 would have been
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that -10.
Did you answer Homestead Aquarius? Yes. Are we warm enough, Homestead Aquarius?
I think so. I'm in a t-shirt. So.
Inside, it's really toasty. Outside, I don't know. Yeah. But for the most part, all of our animals get locked up inside, nice and warm, except for our woolly sheep.
Yeah, they actually prefer to be outside usually. The only weather they don't like is the freezing rain, which I don't blame them because that gets down into their wool. But they don't mind the cold. But yeah, that's what I was thinking, John. That you wouldn't be all that far from the Atlantic Ocean, so you'd get a very different lake effect,
but ocean effect.
But yeah, you'd probably get a lot. It'd be similar in some ways.
Yeah,
10 degrees warmer. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so that's good.
That's very good.
Yeah.
We should. Well, our greenhouse isn't completely.
We should finish our greenhouse.
We should finish our greenhouse and actually close it in. But I'd be curious to see what
next winter we'll be using it. We'll see how it goes.
Well, we'll get it done in the spring.
Yeah,
but we just didn't quite get there.
Not quite. We ran out of time.
Yeah, we switched to a grow room instead.
Yeah.
Which, for anybody coming in, at the beginning we were talking about, we got our lights. They're all up except for like one because I ran out of a couple of chains. But now we just have to plant.
Yeah, that's next on the agenda.
Yep.
-10 Celsius. Too cold for those hotline moans.
Oh, last blast. So it's not bad.
I'm going to be really terrible. Where are you, Drops?
Like relative.
I mean, obviously, I'm not asking for whatever details, but.
Because for us, we usually get.
Just because you sound like your temperatures are quite similar.
Well, we usually get one more deep freeze end of February. It almost always goes in this cycle.
It always, when we don't have goats anymore, but when we had goats, it was always when the goats had their babies the end of February. It was like -30.
I was the one last year.
2 years in a row they had frostbite.
It was -30 when she had the 2. But yeah.
So Indiana's right on Lake Michigan. So you'd get some good lake effect.
Yeah. Is your part of Lake Michigan usually freeze?
It's in Washington, Spokane.
Okay.
Hit the one there. Here we go.
Okay. So yeah, similar. But that's kind of nice if you're not going to get another one, another cold period.
Yeah.
But
well, we were kind of sitting nice because we'd gotten all the way till it was the 3rd week of January, and we kept saying it's got to come. It's got to come. Like it can't stay nice all winter, and then it did.
But the nice part of it is this year it actually stayed because in past winters,
no up and downs, which is good.
Yeah, the up and downs are killer.
Yeah, the where it gets snow and then it melts and then you have ice and oh gosh, cat bomb.
Surprised this has been the first one.
Yeah. What is North Shore? It's supposed to be -14 here in the morning.
That's not too bad.
Well, but this has been actually a decent year for the ice fishing in the end. Like we've had some steady colds. I mean, we were mid-January and some people were going out on that ice and I was just like, there was water there a week ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I used to ice fish when I was younger, but I'll be honest, there was like a 10-year period where I just you couldn't do it here. There was never, unless you went quite far to north, like up towards Ottawa and past, like it didn't freeze.
Yeah.
You could fish from shore or from a boat in the St. Lawrence and anyways. That's just interesting. But
Okay. Can you control when your goats? Never heard of Saka, but I guess that is a wham
we
bam.
we could a little bit.
They were seasonal.
They were
but
seasonal though, so they were pretty similar to like white-tailed deer. So you were uh, earliest would be that you could put them in together into the breeding groups would have been like mid-October, and then pretty much that continued on till about mid-December, pending if when you hit the cycles. Because they usually went in, the females usually would go into heat twice. So you didn't have a lot of control.
Thanks for
over
popping
it,
in, Jan.
but
Good to see you.
But yeah, the nice part is our sheep are a little better. Now we've been late the last 2 years. Last year because we moved, we were really late, and this year we were late because of infrastructure stuff and getting rams split up and that. But the sheep are a little better because they're like semi-seasonal, so it's really hard to breed them in the spring or the summer. But once you get to fall, you kind of have a lot of leeway. You put the ram in, and they'll do their
hopefully
thing.
We'll be a little early with them next year.
So, but it is
unfortunately
nice.
They won't make our shed wars tally.
Actually,
no, wait. The Rams, yeah. Well, when does Shed Wars start counting? Is it the end of March or is it in end of April? No, it's end of March.
Anyways, I don't know. We always end up.
Our rams will count.
We always overwinter some of our rams because it's like an insurance policy. We kind of want to wait until
babies are born.
Babies are born to know that we've got replacements because we run more than one ram. So then, as long as you get a ram or a male from this grouping with this ram, then this ram can go because his offspring can replace him, kind of thing. So we always kind of do that game. So sometimes our older rams, I say older, like year to 2 years, we can process them as late as June, pending. But yeah, that's just the sheep season is a long one here.
Yeah.
And abattoirs don't help.
No. So I saw that North Shore is going to film his ice fishing, which I think would be a good idea. So go for it.
Yes.
We all want to watch you freezing.
Where did you see that?
It was somewhere up. It's kept scrolling while you've been chatting. I saw it somewhere. Anyways.
Now when I keep up with it, I miss things.
Not at our house. I missed something. Oh, mid-March. Willowgrow says mid-March. So, yeah, our stuff's booked in for butcher in April. So we weren't sure if they were going to make it or not because we weren't sure when the start date was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got the abattoir thing here is like in our local area. 2 abattoirs went under. Well, one they retired, which is completely fair. Another one went under, and one took the place of the 2. And
now they're booking, and it's like you call to book up an animal, and it's a year out before you.
So it gets into that thing like we know how to do it. We process all the poultry and stuff ourselves and the rabbits, but we've kind of never processed the bigger animals ourselves. Mostly because we've always wanted that option to sell them because that's the regulations here. But now we're kind of at this point where we've got to make the decision. Like you really have to know which ones you want to go to be potential saleable meat, and probably do the rest yourself because between the cost of getting them butchered and just physically getting them booked in, like I'm a little scared with the cows, to be honest, as we move into that because now the nice part of it is you've got like 2 years before you actually get them butchered. So once they're born, you've got a lot of leeway. But that's our biggest thing with the pigs, like whether it's raising the large like normal pigs or even the coonies we have is we got stung with a late butcher date by 2 months when we raised our last 2 Berkshires out, and that ended up they like doubled in size. We ended up with 2 400-pound hanging weight pigs, and that's a lot of food. So the planning side of that is just getting hard.
I'm changing topics completely because I'm going back to the fishing because I'm seeing this. North Shore was saying about the screw COVID thing. Are you not supposed to go ice fishing? Sorry, I missed something. I might have missed something. I don't know. The chat's just kind of been going, but I thought that if you were not supposed to go ice fishing, I didn't think. Oh my! Now they're really cracking down.
Well, that's probably something to do with the stain.
Or maybe I misunderstood the conversation as it quickly went past, but I'm like, holy cow, you're not supposed to ice fish? But, uh-oh, now we're talking about taxes. Uh-oh. Oh, Grace Family Homestead last year, everybody was super booked up.
Well, this year it's seeming that way too. And this is one of the things, well, this is just the stuff we talk about for fun. We were talking about our Kuni pigs. And so this kind of going back to we were chatting about we did that video on the economics of the rabbits. And so we've gone back and we've looked at the economics, what it costs us for the chicken flock. And we're going to go back and look at the larger animals. But we have to kind of look at them as a whole because they don't break up nicely. But anyways, with the pigs, it's our first year running through with them. And there's like all these unknowns about, how long they're going to take to grow out, and how much they're going to eat. And because their growth rates and economics are totally just not the same as normal pigs. So I'm getting off on another tangent again.
That's all right.
I
was going to go with where Darren was saying about always butchering himself. Well, this is where we're kind of on the thing. We're actually thinking about butchering some of them ourselves now, but we can't sell the meat if we butcher it ourselves.
So
and that's the downfall.
One of those things.
So
for our own use, we have no problem with that. We just have to get ourselves a little better set up. But we can do that. That's not a problem. It's it then goes into the thing. It's like the sheep.
Like we've got the 18 lambs coming this year, and we said, well, we need to book them in now because it's a year out before we can even, I'm saying 18. Most of our ewes have two kids. The lambs. But anyways, long story short, we can't consume that, and if we butchered ourselves, we can't even give it away because of rules and regulations and so on. So we said, well, we got to book them in and get them done in order to be able to sell the meat.
Well, and it goes back to that, trying to figure out running your herd size, right? Because if
butchers are a problem, then we don't want as many.
How many you need to fill your own freezer versus, and then it's also keeping that breed going, because the hardest part with keeping the rarer stuff that we do when we keep them for very specific reasons, but is you can't usually do just the put and take type.
Peregrine, you're back.
Oh, we've been on that long. You're back.
You left. You're back. Okay, so we've established North Shore is going to get in trouble for getting together in a group. It's not the fishing that's the problem. It's the people you're hanging out with. Okay. So far, I'm ahead on cost with the chickens on what I would spend on eggs. That's really good. And that's where we said by working out our costing, we need to improve. It's been great to do the exercise because in our whole time together and farming, we've never, ever kept good records.
Now, one thing, I don't know, Drops, whether you like you just have a small flock, like one rooster and a few hens, or like, I guess how we do it is a little weird because we're actually it's like the seed saving. We're managing a population.
You're a chicken hoarder.
Well, but to keep it going, the partridge chanticleers are rare enough. We can't just always go out and bring new birds in. So because nobody we know, well, I shouldn't say that. My friend Miles does raise them, and that's really helped because essentially we now have access to more birds. And we did a swap on that this year. But yeah, we end up having to keep more of them just to keep it going than what you would if everybody had them. But that's kind of I don't know. It's the same principle.
Well, but we have had.
I'm not explaining that well.
No, and we really downsized our chickens. Like we went into this year with only 10 hens and the 3 roosters, and so we've anyways, it'll come in the video, but we've kind of factored all this stuff into our thingy and realized that we came out way in the hole on our year, but we've also increased our flock size from the 10 birds to 35, which should also help with eggs, which in previous years we've done egg sales, and this year we had none because we only had the 10 birds, so we ate all the eggs.
Well, by the time we ate what we wanted.
And then they went broody.
Which we wanted because we wanted the replacements and stuff, so. Yeah, economics is interesting because you can look at it from so many different perspectives. And I think it is important to know what it's costing you to do these things. Now, what it's costing you to do these things, but also what it would have cost you to buy the same thing. Now, that's always good to know, too, because that can put it in perspective. Even if it's costing you X amount of dollars, if it's costing you less than it would have to go and purchase that, then that's great.
Yeah. No. Well, So I'm going into So North Shore is only with one other person, but now is that person from your circle? That's the question.
Oh, I don't even know how that stuff works
I
anymore.
know. I'm just bugging him. So Drops has 1 rooster, 5 hens. See, now that is what we call one of our groups, and I think that's a great. If we could easily get more of our chickens if we ever needed, I would probably only keep 1 rooster and 10 hens, maybe tops. But as it is now, we have 1 jerk and 5 hens times by 5.
Yeah, because we always
in order to have all the breeding groups.
We always need to have the extras to move to the
Genetics.
other group to be able to keep it going as a population. Because,
but
and that's the whole problem too. When you get into creating breeds, you run into that thing. It's like numbers creep, and then you try to figure out how to keep it down, which kind of goes into what Darren was saying about the like the butchering yourself and it's that numbers creep because we only need so many lambs produced, but
you end up having more in order to keep the flock.
There's some gray area with that, and I spend a lot of time looking through legislation for my actual job. And there's always gray area. Short answer is yeah, you can do that. Long answer is you're probably not supposed to. And
well, a lot of people do it here with chickens. A lot of people do it with chickens. You can come to their farm and learn how to butcher a chicken and take the chicken home.
Or you do it in that they've bought the live animal from you and they just happen to be there on the day that you're processing.
Yeah, as long as they're involved in the processing, I think
you're not going to scale that up to a business, and not that what we're trying to do as a business is just trying to float the difference between how many animals do we need to keep our population going versus how much are they going to produce versus how much it's going to cost us. And yeah, again, I'm kind of butchering this tonight, but it's just some of the stuff that we think about. How far behind in the chat am I?
Well, I'm just giggling at North Shore's answers because he's going to draw a circle around them in the snow. So
then nobody can say anything.
I feel like he's in my circle. Sorry, that was giggling on my computer. I was giggling.
See, both Drops and Indiana Backyard Gardener have a great point of like starting with the 4, 6, or even 10. It's not a big deal, but this goes back to the community thing, because in the old days, everybody in your community had the same livestock. They had the same seeds. So it was way easier to keep something going because you didn't have to have 30 or 40 chickens. You could have 6. And when you needed a rooster the next year, your neighbor who had 6 had the same kind of chicken, and you just went over and got chickens from your neighbor. And you kind of could always do the swap. But now there's so many breeds that have come into most countries, and there's not a lot of people that really do it anymore. Like we're in an upswing, but you're still stuck in that hard spot between having to do it all yourself and making it economically work, that you're not just bleeding yourself dry.
And we fall into that kind of odd group, I suppose, that really we have an infatuation with rare breeds or heritage animals.
But we see the value in them because oftentimes they're bringing some kind of production quality to the table that the more conventional stuff is not.
But they do make it awkward when it comes to...
It could be hardiness, it could be meat quality, it could be fiber, it could be the ability to do work, it could be whatever, longevity. But yeah, because they're inherently rare, it's harder to work with them because not everybody has them.
Night, Amy. Thank you for coming by.
Yes, thank you very much for stopping in. I'm way behind, but she's on top of it.
I'm kind of watching or trying to. But yes, I was going to go back to that quickly, just with the rabbits. So, for example, we raise Champagne d'Argent rabbits, and we're basically one of the only breeders in Ontario. And especially now that we can't cross the border and get more, it's one of those things that you have to have enough to be self-sustaining, because I can't go and get another one, and I don't want to cross them.
But that's a lot easier with rabbits.
Oh yeah, but I mean, we're trying somewhat to achieve that with some of the other animals as well.
Well, it's like on the flip side with the cows, we're kind of involved now with a community that has a like-minded. It's not just I'm raising purebred cattle and they're worth X amount of dollars and I'm trying to make the most out of. It's people that actually want to keep them going. So
yeah,
I'm not going to go down that road too far, but it's a very different community.
Drops had a good one there. So.
This one?
Yeah. Well, first goal is sustainability.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
well, that's what we kind of said. Like, we've never actually sold produce. We've sold livestock. But this year we said it'd be kind of nice as we've got our gardens built up and whatnot, to just do, I don't know what it's called. We call it an honor stand, but you just have something at the end of the driveway where you start to kind of sell off that extra produce, which just brings in a little bit more, which goes towards whatever it needs to go towards.
Well, and that's, I guess, the thing for us. We're kind of always looking for those ways to bring in a bit of an income, but not for the point of quitting your day job or quitting my day job. Your day job is the farm.
My day job is
quitting my day job and becoming a full-time farmer who's feeding into a large system. It's more like, I just want another way to help cover the costs that have to go out, even though what we're producing is still of potentially greater value than what we could buy in the grocery store. Right? It's trying to make it work a little bit. It's not, there's no aspirations of grandeur to expand and have perpetual growth and become a big supplier of whatever. It's more just taking those things that work really well in those small systems and trying to figure out a little bit of a way to help them cover their costs, because they do have a cost, even if they do give you X benefit, vegetables included, because seeds still cost money.
Yeah.
And
and this is the first year we're actually tracking what we've spent on stuff for the garden, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, you have to be careful here with some of it, especially when it comes to meat. Eggs aren't so bad. You can trade eggs, and we have bartered some. We've even bartered like actual animals and various trades for things. Like, that's actually how I got into live animals. That's how I got into rabbits. Was I was breeding and raising Narragansett turkeys, which I liked. I really liked them. They were really good, but they had one major drawback. You couldn't keep them where you wanted them. And even though we didn't have neighbors, they were roosting on the cars. They were at the front door. It didn't matter. So we made the decision, despite their great qualities, to get out of raising them because of their kind of overall destructiveness. And was lucky enough to be able to trade some of my last turkey breeders for what started a rabbit herd. So we do. It's not always so easy. We do have some friends that we've done vegetables where we grow a lot of one thing and they grow a lot of another thing, and you get together and everybody makes stuff together, and that's also great because it's still bartering, but it's kind of like mutually beneficial bartering.
Drops, I would say 3 eggs a day out of your 5 hens at this time of year is probably pretty decent.
Yeah.
We've right now got, well, since they're not all breeding age, but we've probably got about 20 hens that are not at laying age right now, and we get 5 to 6 a day.
No, they're not lit or anything either, though.
No, they're outside in the cold. They're most of the time the eggs are frozen. There's nothing we feed them to the cats or pigs, but
we looked into Australorps. That's why I noticed that on your one video. That's why I asked what breed they were, because I thought that's what you had was Australorps. They're another great sounding one.
Yeah, we're big fans of dual purpose.
Yeah, well, the dual purpose anything. If you can get, especially with animals, but even plants, if you can get more than one purpose out of them or more than one use out of them, you're just doubling your productivity, for lack of a better way to put it. A single use, an animal or a plant that really has one single use, unless it's really easy to manage, is harder to justify.
Yeah.
Because the cost benefit ratio is less. Here, look at me sounding all whatever.
Ontario Homestead. We follow Ontario Homestead. You're talking his YouTube channel.
Yeah, I don't know if we've...
Why did I not know that he had rabbits?
I don't know. We'll have to check into that.
Yeah. I don't know why I never... Anyway, we'll have to look into his thing on rabbits.
Well, seed saving, if nothing else, seed saving has got to be like the best way to save money.
Yeah.
Because like the amount of seeds you can produce with a bit of thought and then not have to buy, you can either divert that into buying new varieties and new seeds or expanding the stuff that you grow, or you can just have that expenditure. It's amazing. And it accumulates that wealth over time too, right? The longer you do it, the better it is, when you don't have to spend $3 every year to buy, or if you're buying starts, even that could be more. But
I see Indiana Backyard there. I was talking about selling some seedlings this year. We were thinking about it, maybe with starting our tomatoes and things like that. And just we start a few. We grow about 125 tomato plants every year.
we might up that.
We might up that this year. But we were thinking, even if you just started a 50 extra tomato plants, it's no more work really. And we could just sell those, whether we just do them at the end of the driveway or put a Kijiji ad on or something. I don't know if in the US they have Kijiji. What would it be?
I think
I don't know if you're Kijiji or not, Craigslist kind of thing or whatever. But just to bring in a little bit extra from that, which I think would be quite good. And sorry, scroll back up for a second. You went too quickly for me. And then I'm going to drops here on the local food bank. We looked into that. Now, this was quite a few years ago. And, our local food banks would not take produce. Even it had to come from what is the word for if it came from not Kadrinkos. Oh, why can't I think of what the name
grocery
is?
Store.
Yeah. Well, they're a bulk wholesale vegetable produce thing. So when we approached them about it, it was no, we could take your money and go and buy stuff, but we don't take it. Which we were kind of floored with. Now, I haven't looked into that again since, and that, maybe things have changed in the last 6-7 years because of current situations and people needing it, but that was their rule. They didn't take produce from small farms and stuff. So I thought that was pretty shocking.
We looked into Russian Orloffs, and they did sound interesting. That's another cold hardy breed for sure. I think, Darren, you've got an excellent point as I take a drink of water. That's an excellent point because Shed Wars is like that kick to actually track things.
Yes.
And that's where up until last year, we started tracking things pretty well last year, but not everything. And the more you track, the more you have an idea of how well things are actually working.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like that thing, like we've never tracked how many eggs our chickens have actually produced ever.
Well, we had a rough ballpark idea, but
no, we always start and we never stuck with it and stuff. So this is the great thing about the Shed Wars for us is, and like the garden, I mean, we've weighed a few things here and there, but we've never actually weighed stuff to see what we had. This was the beauty of starting the YouTube channel because you started documenting that stuff. And it's like, we never write it down. And in our recent rabbit economic video, we were like, well, what did we raise? I'm like, I don't know. We better go check the YouTube video because, of course, we don't have the documentation saying what we did.
Good of information.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, bylaws, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, that's why we moved.
That's why we moved. But we'll definitely have to check in with Ontario Homestead.
He used to produce many, though. Lots of knowledge regarding that. Oh, well, we'll have to look into it.
We've been raising rabbits for what, 8 years?
Yeah. My parents raised rabbits like on a commercial level. They had contracts and stuff like that, and we don't have any desire to necessarily do it that way. We just do for personal consumption, but and for cat food.
Yeah, definitely. That's another good way to help supplement things.
Frost got my first plant stars.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We've actually never done like a backup seeding. We usually we're so late that
there's never worry about them getting frosted.
Never frosted.
So yeah.
But that's a good idea.
So yeah, that's definitely something this year that we're pushing towards is to actually be on time with the garden stuff.
Well, we're hoping the greenhouse really helps with that.
Yeah.
That'll be that push to get stuff outside earlier. Because that's where we always got the bottleneck.
Certified. That's the word I was looking for the garden stuff for the food bank. It had to come from a certified grower.
Move the cat out of the box.
Yeah, move the cat. Bylaws are the devil. Yeah.
Well, I always kind of say the same thing, and that's probably because of my background looking at other laws. But usually they come from some kind of purpose, but then they get misconstrued over time, and it's that gradual misconstruedness. I made up a word that seems to cause the problem. Where they basically it's on the books. It's written a certain way, and it was written a certain way for a certain set of reasons, and those set of reasons don't really apply, or the local environment's slightly different, and so now you're applying a bylaw to something where it really doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but it's
and
being applied
it's not
because
applied across the board.
well, and it ends up being like a bureaucratic process. It's being applied just for the sake of being applied. That's where I feel you've got the real problem. But yes, they do cause a lot of headaches. Well, I don't know. It's like us without going into it. We lived in where we used to live. It was a rural area. We're surrounded by dairy farmers, surrounded by manure spreading. Like they used to come in with the pump trucks full. There was cows. There was a little area of cluster of 5 houses that were basically all on lots that were under 2
acres.
Under 2 acres. Just under 2 acres. And the bylaw in the township, this is rural. It was all zoned rural land. The bylaw in the township basically prohibited any agricultural practices,
including gardening,
orchards, keeping bees, processing and storing things like fleece, etc., on any property
less than the 2 acres.
Less than the 2 acres. It didn't matter that it was in the rural land and surrounded by.
And it didn't matter that we owned the 5 acres across the road.
Yeah, the cumulative. It was the parcel itself, and so it was. No, we don't have that problem.
Yeah, so we moved. We moved
and
fast.
It's no longer whatever, but it's just misconstrued use of stuff. But another rant.
A lot of cities are getting very, I say lenient. I don't see that there was any issue with having like the chickens and rabbits and things like that. Where were we driving the other day, and the people had like a tiny lot, and they must have had 4 goats in the backyard.
I forget where that was.
We were driving anyway, but
it basically boils down to, it's exactly like the permaculture discussion. It sort of depends what your area, what their laws are, whether they have them. Yeah.
But root veggies and squash.
We're always a little bit scared of that because yes, we could, and I think for more tolerant things, we definitely can. But I'm always scared of that with some of the more tender stuff. It's like a lot of our beans, the dry beans, the squash, that sort of thing is always at risk. But I usually like to wait until.
See you, Sean. Thanks very much for coming in.
Yes, thank you. We're probably going to wrap up here shortly anyways, because we're coming up.
You've been running on for 2 hours.
You got me talking. When I get talking, I don't stop. But
But I was going back here to what Drop says. We're always very careful with using manure. We make sure we compost. It's all heated. I don't know. We did our little steaming pile. But I always wonder about the pouring it on the fields like they do sometimes. But
well, I won't get into my opinions on that, but it's you're just getting rid of waste basically at that level, which is really different from it's like us with the solid stuff.
You might have to take him off.
Come on, bud. Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Cat.
He's
Cat
climbed
number
right up there.
2 of 9.
Yeah, but it's kind of always, because we're always very careful with it. We make sure we compost down, except for the rabbit. We don't worry about that. But you got to wonder about those big. But
I think that sums it up, Homestead Aquarius. The common sense. Common sense is in short supply, I think.
Sometimes, yes.
That's as far as I'll go with the opinion, but
yeah. Well, at least sometimes with the people making the rules that have never lived the.
Well, you're into that gets further, but it's like the abattoir thing we were talking about. It makes sense that you have to have that regulated to when you start scaling it up, because you couldn't sell meat the way they do at a grocery store and not have it regulated, and then you eventually get so big that it kind of you can find ways to circumvent the rules, and the ones that suffer the most are the little guys.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's as far as I'll go with that.
I think you're just about.
Oh, I think we're I don't know if anybody
You're getting
else.
Close there.
I'm catching up. I'm thank you to everybody for being so patient. But
thank you very much for coming in, Darren.
Yes, very, very much appreciated.
Need to pretend to work for a living.
Yeah, you definitely agree with that. We do try to do it. This year we're a bit more set up, so we've done it in the past. Last year we didn't have.
Well, last year we had them set up and we just covered them with the plastic, like kind of domey things, and it worked out all right, just to be safe. But took it off during the day. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just make sure that it's composted down, and but I mean, it is something like you say. Not everybody realizes that, and it can be like we use a lot of horse manure. It composts down beautifully, and we've never had a problem with weeds. But I do believe horse manure is one of the things that can be tetanus problems and things like that. And
yeah, but then like the weed part of it, you have the chickens, you have it composting down, and then the chickens go through it. So there's not, and the geese go through it.
Yeah. And I don't know. I have a funny thing about I don't put. Well, we don't put the pig manure into the compost. I don't know why that's a thing for me, but the pig manure goes into the big back one to just break down on its own for fill somewhere. Use it on. It's not for on the gardens. I don't know why that is. I think it's because you told me that pigs can get sick from us and vice versa. I feel like the pig manure shouldn't go into the compost. Well,
not for use in the garden.
Yeah.
It's one thing to, but we still compost it, but not the same way.
Not in the same, But
then that's like, it's like when we butcher chickens and stuff, we still compost it. We still compost it properly under a good bedding of whatever. But we don't generally put that back onto the garden. You can, but we just don't.
Yeah. Or you know, we have areas that we want to eventually put in some trees and things like that. So we just put compost over,
it won't affect it as
and much. Then the trees can grow in them. But yes, he says about common sense ain't too common. That's definitely.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. But at the same point, I don't know, you can get yourself really bogged down into all the negatives of things, but it's way better to try to focus on the positive. Yeah. Not that it's always that easy, but
we're pretty good at it. We're pretty good at it. Yeah. But on that note, I think we've managed to catch up. I hope we've answered everybody's stuff, and it's been fantastic conversation. This has been great. Awesome. I can't believe we've been going for 2 hours. But we probably are going to love you and leave you all because it's getting late here, and I'm sure you guys have. Oh, and there's MB right at the end. But look at the welcome you got. Oh, that's too funny. It was food a couple of days ago. Why is it so bad when it comes back out? Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah, inform, educate, and prepare is always a good thing. Exactly.
Oh, Kid Family Farm came in too.
Hey, Kid Family Farm. Oh, you lost them. Oh, they went up.
Oh, it jumped on me.
No, it was good. It's been a great chat. We're just kind of wrapping up, guys. But thank you for catching us at the end. Definitely hit the like button anyways, because it just boosts things or something. I don't know. You're supposed to say those things. I'm not sure if it does.
I don't feel so bad. They said they were listening.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Well, that's
all right. It's all right to lurk sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've had that too sometimes where you're trying to cook dinner or something. We always get that on the ones that come on sort of between 5:30 and 7:30 for us are so hard because we're always cooking or the kids are here or whatever. So they're often in the background. Yeah. But anyways, thank you everybody for coming and chatting with us. This has been awesome.
And putting up with us for like 2 hours.
Yes, yes. And we love you all watching our channel, and your comments are always great. And I am madly working at getting replies to them all. But we shall see everybody again. We're kind of, I don't know, I said this kind of at the beginning, but we're on Mondays we share with Lori. So last week we had our live on Monday, and then this week we were on Lori's live on Monday. So we decided to do Tuesday, and I think that's how we're going to stick with it. So next week we're on Monday again with Lori at 8, and then the following week we'd be Tuesday here and Monday with Lori. So we're getting into this live thing. See, MB told us just do it, and now we're getting into it.
Yes, we know we need to get a better camera.
Yeah.
It's we're actually using the better camera on the better computer.
Yeah.
Tonight, but yeah.
Send us a thing. What kind? What one? We don't want to spend a fortune, but I think we should get a webcam. So we've got to look into it for sure. But anyways, We will.
It's on the to-do list.
To do this along with my drone because I really want a drone.
Oh, drone's a little ways out.
Anyways, have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for coming in and all the chat.
Thank you very much.
And we shall see you next time.
Hopefully everybody has a great night. Thank you.
Bye, guys.